Hey, my name is Morgan Loyd. I am currently the Linebackers coach and recruiting coordinator at Ohio Northern University. I was just going to talk a little bit about some of our different 3x1 adjustments. We're primarily, we base out of a 4-3 quarter system. So we see a decent amount of 3x1. So I think for us, just finding ways to change the lookup, making sure we're not just playing, the same thing, teach those formations, but also making it simple for our guys where they can keep up. So we'll just, we have a few different ways we do it. I'll just talk about a couple, 2 different quarters variations, and then a couple different one high things that we got into kind of towards the end of the season. So for us, base rules, obviously we're 4 down, 4-3. We'll play some nickel, so our Sam will come out, play more of a DB body in. Our base rules for our Sam and our Will, we're going to relate to number 2. Obviously, 3x1, our Sam's going to relate to number 2. Our Mike and our Will's base alignments are going to be 30s. Now, that's, like I said, this is kind of playbook base alignments in 30s. Obviously, they're anchored to the A and B gaps with the over front. Now, I will say our Mike, he's going to be more often than not. We're going to say we want his inside foot, at least, on the outside leg of this defensive end, obviously, so we're not just leaving number 3 uncovered. Obviously, that's going to, create some challenges because of, the gaps that we still have to account for. So, the biggest thing for the Mike that we tell him whenever he's, we get a 3x1 and he's kind of removed a little bit from the box is we give him some tools that he can use to make sure that, he's going to try to get the ball out to him, and, maybe more towards the C gap, kind of alley defender, so that he's not kind of in conflict with 3 and obviously playing his gap. So, a couple of those things are just, he can just, we have different words that we use, but one is just to move, right, our defensive end, our 3 technique, to just move them in, B gap, A gap. Now, if we get run at him, it should be all coming out to him, so he can really hang in this window with 3. And he can also, play, the C gap. Obviously, maybe if you get, some kind of gun near here, same thing, we can move them both. So now he's still our C gap player and can hold the window for any kind of stick or RPOs. The other thing that we could do is just move our 3 technique 1 gap over. Now at least he's got the B gap, so he can still hang here, right, with run at him. And now he can fold into the B gap. If he's, gun near, same thing, we can still move, our 3 technique. Now, if we get some kind of zone read, this way, he's going to get the gap exchange with the DN, so he can still hold, his kind of hip alignment on the defensive end to where we're not just giving up, hopefully easy stick routes or things like that. So those are just a few of the tools that can help the Mike out. As far as the Will, he's pretty much going to be in a base 30 alignment. If we play an under front where he's got a 3 technique to him, he might bump in just a hair, but he's also got to, acknowledge where the back's at, because we do play some man concepts on the backside, where he's going to have to run with the back out of the backfield. So we don't want to make sure that he's keeping his leverage. For our Sam or our nickel, right, he's still going to relate to the number 2 receiver. Our base alignment for those guys is about 4 yards off the man by 1. Now, if this receiver, is pretty deep off the ball, 2 yards or so, getting that far off the ball, we don't, at some point we want the Sam, we don't want him standing at the line of scrimmage. So we usually don't want him any closer to the line of scrimmage than 3 yards, but 1 yard inside, 4 yards off. And his biggest, kind of responsibilities, we just want him to get a good reroute on number 2, whether it's, this kind of 3x1 check or, a couple of variations. We really want him to be able to get hands-on to help our safeties out. But that's just kind of in general how we would want to align to a 3x1 with our linebackers, and maybe a couple adjustments, with the Mike to help him get his, run pass responsibilities on the same page. So one of our main checks this year, though, just in getting into more detail, was we called Bronco. It's a base cross key, what we would consider a cross key 3x1 adjustment. So our backside safety is going to cross key to number 3 and play, any kind of vertical of number 3. On the front side, we're basically playing a read kind of cloud technique with our corner. Our Sam is going to be our seam curl defender, our safety. If he gets any kind of out route by 2 or 3, he's going to work over the top of number 1. This right here, blue side, basically what that is that kind of gives our outside linebackers a clue into, or a clue, a kind of a cheat sheet to say, okay, what kind of family is this in, right? It kind of relates back to how we play 2x2. So blue, if we just called blue to a 2x2, that is telling our outside linebackers that they aren't responsible for 2 in the flat. So it's either some kind of cloud or some kind of read 2, where if we get it out route by 2, the corner is going to handle it. Safety's going to work over top of 1. We do have, other checks that are more true quarters now. We consider those yellow, so we just use colors for our zones. So if this was a yellow family 3x1 check, right, now the Sam knows that he's going to be more of a true quarter outside linebacker, where he's going to have to match 2 to the flat and obviously on the wheel. So that's just how we kind of help them, compartmentalize things as far as, okay, is this a blue family or is it a yellow family? Do I need to take 2 to the flat, or is, the flats are kind of closed where the corner is going to take 2 in the flat? So that's just kind of what that means. For the Mike, he's got to understand the biggest thing for him is outside of his run responsibility is who's handling 3 vertical. And he just has to know in Bronco, it's a cross key coverage. So he is not going to be responsible for 3 vertical. So you can see under here, we call that a wall technique. So we really want him to just wall 3, right, buy time for our backside safety, okay, so that 3 can't just climb right now, into the middle of the field. We really want that Mike to get to 3, make 3 kind of bubble up and around to give our backside safety time to get over. And then as far as the wheel goes, we do have a few different ways we play the backside of 3x1. We'll play man concepts. We can bracket. We can play, more of a cloud or maybe an invert. But because it's a cross key coverage, there's only really one way we can play it, and that's just a manned concept. So the wheel is going to be manned up on the running back. The corner is going to be manned up on the number 1 receiver. So that's what based on tag is. We just put as far as the playbook goes because, normally we can play other things, but for this one, we can only play 1, which is Meg. We just man everywhere he goes. So it's just man running back, man on number 1. So we got a couple clips here, we can look at. There's some pass plays. There's some run plays. There's some good and bad in each clip. Not all of them are perfect as much as you want them to be, but there are some good teachable moments in each of them. So, okay, first one, obviously we're in a 3x1 with our cross key coverage. We're getting kind of a mesh bubble here. So, the biggest thing is with this Sam at the top is when he gets this bubble, we want him to start working outside of number 2, right? He's just going to get pushed out with the bubble. Our Mike, if we look at the end zone, our Mike, first year player, still kind of getting used to, things early in the season. He's probably a little too tight. We'd probably want him standing probably more here, hipped on the heels, the defensive end. We can see this kind of play develop as in the run game, getting some weak side run. For the Mike here, when he gets this read with this mesh at him, we could really just have him clear his cleats right here on the ends of the heels, clear any kind of zone read or stick. And then now he can fold in late to this because we do have our Will on the backside and our safety still accounting for the box. So they're doing a pretty good job. Our Will knows he's a crease player, right? He wants to get the ball out to his help, which is the safety here. So he gets just a fold scheme coming at him. So he's going to attack the inside shoulder of this guard. Does a pretty good job getting the ball out. Our Mike, like I said, he's probably a little too fast into the box, right? We can, later in the game, they started throwing some bubble on us because he was kind of cheating his alignment. So the Mike's a little too fast, but, he is a bonus player kind of technically here with the numbers. Our backside safety's doing a good job of clearing, the threat of a 3 vertical and then showing up in the run game on the weak side. Our Will's doing a good job creasing the ball out to him. and we get our Mike kind of late overlapping. So. Okay, another look here. A little bit different look. Still 3x1, just got a Y on now. So this actually, kind of probably helps us because he's closer to the backside safety. As far as perimeter run game goes to the strength in this coverage, all right, we tell the Sam or nickel, whatever personnel we're in, he can be very aggressive with some kind of outside zone at him to get vertical right now, even if it's inside of 2. We tell him he can do that because, the safeties, his footwork he's kind of getting out of there as far as his read technique goes. So what we want to do is get this ball out on the perimeter. If it hits out there, we want it to bubble and kind of get out to our safety. Now, when I'm coaching these outside backers, I tell them I want them to get vertical right now because, and like you see in this clip, if you do a good job at that, you can really actually cut the ball off right there and turn it back. So now the safety really is your bonus player. Right now we see he's doing a good job. If for whatever reason this running back jump cuts out, we still have our safety that's able to run the alley. So our Sam here is doing a really good job being physical. He knows he can fill here with run at him. If we look at it from the end zone, our Mike, number 11, he's doing a good job, right? His 3 is closer to him, so he really doesn't have a need to move the line because his 3 is attached to the box, so he's not really stressed. He also knows if this guy does go vertical, he's got the backside safety protecting him. We get pullers. Mike knows he can be aggressive into the box. Doing a good job just making a TFL here. On the backside, this is a bad clip of our Will, 33 right here. We need him to keep scraping over the top of all this. When he cuts back, we don't want him to go underneath any blocks like this. We need him to get over the top of these kind of blocks. But overall, good job by our Sam. If you look at it again from the end zone, Sam's doing a really good job getting vertical in the crease here, cutting the ball off, and our Mike's doing a good job being aggressive with pullers. Another clip, same formation, back set's the same. Now we're just going to get, obviously a 5-step concept. So you can see how these would distribute. Our Sam at the bottom here is going to look to get hands on 2. We just run a hitch. So he's going to just hang on to this guy in his zone. Our safety in our corner to the field here are doing a good job doubling number 1. Our Mike, we'd like to see the Mike stay inside and underneath this tight end to try to make him run the bubble here up and over. Obviously, if this guy goes under right now, we still want him to get hands on and break that guy's route down so that he doesn't cross the face of the backside safety. Obviously, we're playing a man concept at the top with our Will. So he's just going to man the running back up. Our corner's doing a good job on the backside. Overall, pretty good underneath coverage from our linebackers there. Okay, another clip here. Same coverage. Okay, our Mike, you can see from the end zone. Like I said, like him to be a little bit more hipped out here with his inside foot on the edge of the box here. He's cheating a little too far in, and you can see now they throw a little bubble passes to us. Gets a kind of a hi-hat read. So the Mike's doing a good job of breaking on the ball here. Obviously, if he was aligned better, then he would be in a better position to chase this down. But our Sam here is doing a really, really good job. Gets the bubble look again, doing a really good job of being physical with the receiver, pushing to the outside shoulder, and doing a good job fighting off the block. Ends up defeating the block, also making a pretty good tackle here. This was a kind of game plan thing. We played a little bit softer on this stuff as far as the back end goes because they did run a decent amount of bubble go. So we were okay with catching a bubble, tackling it for under 5 yards. We definitely didn't want to play that aggressive and play into what they wanted for the bubble go, on the back end. But our Sam's doing a really good job at the bottom, being physical with the blocks, block defeat. He knows he's got to win to the outside. Our Mike doing a good job running, gets a good read. Obviously his initial alignment hurts him. He needs to be hipped out further to the right. Off the defensive end. On the backside, we're still just playing a man concept with our cross key safety. Okay, we're gonna get mesh here, same coverage. Like I said, our Mike, obviously he's gonna relate to number 3 still, and that, final number 3, whoever he ends up becoming 3, that is. So this is gonna be a little bit different. It's hard, the clip's a little cut off, but we have a cut split on the backside with the running back offset. So because it's still a cross key, our will and our corner, we have a kind of a call that we can have these two work together on with a cut split. We just make a paint call. That basically means corner's going to give him paint alert. It means, hey, if number 1 comes under right now, you take it. And we really want that will to flatten that guy out, and take that under. Now the corner's going to look to take the back coming out of the backfield. Like I said, on the front side, our Sam's still our seam curl player, and our Mike's still going to relate to the final 3. So as we get mesh here, okay, first-year player here, he's doing a good job at being aggressive, probably – obviously being, a little too aggressive, really wanting to try to flatten that guy out and gets kind of lost. We want him to stay on his feet, obviously, and take that crosser. Our Mike's doing a good job, right? He opens up to 3, gets the drag, so he breaks on the new number 3 coming across here. There's, people do things differently. A lot of people would say, well, just the Mike should just pass the under, the Will should just pass the under, which is definitely fine. I think for us, first-year player, and, we do a pretty good amount of different things on the front side and the back side of our 3x1. So we really, we try to kind of not double pass things. We'd rather just, once it sorts out, who's your final 3, who's your technically final 2, and just take it. We do have other coverages if we really want to truly spot drop these guys, that we can do that. But overall, we want to kind of just really man underneath routes. If we feel like we're getting beat with that, then we can definitely call some kind of spot drop coverage. So at the top, like I said, Sam seam curl does a good job trying to get some hands on the new number 2. Hands on the new number 2. Our backside safety is cross keying, the final 3 back here, doing a good job. So we end up getting 3/2 on the dig and the post, and we're doing a good job underneath manning up the routes. End up getting a pretty good coverage sack there. Okay, now same look. Okay, we're going to get mesh again. So, we should see it play out the same. We get the paint alert at the bottom from the corner to the will. Okay, 1 goes under. We're going to hear him make that paint call. The will's going to drive on it. Same thing. Did a lot of good things for us. He was being really aggressive here as his first start, so he really wanted to be overly aggressive. We just want him to flatten that guy out and run with it across. Same thing with our Mike here. He opens the 3, has vision out to see the new number 3, so he's able to drive on that. And this, even if they catch the ball here, I think that's a 2 or 3 yard route. Obviously, we're still getting our good 3/2 coverage on the post and the dig. Back behind our corner ends up taking the back coming out, so overall it's pretty good coverage. Okay, same game. A little bit later in the game, we got some younger guys in, but still, some good things on here. Obviously, our Sam, at the bottom here to the field, really like for him to stay inside of number 2. He kind of gets stemmed out. We want him to stay inside of 2 and either flatten 2 out or make 2, if 2's going to go vertical, make him run the bubble up and around, help out our safeties. On the backside, like I said, we're still playing that man concept with our will. Okay, so he gets a late release by the back, so he does a good job of getting some depth, kind of holds that window a little bit, and obviously as the back starts to release, he's able to break on that. This is a pretty good job by the Mike here, too, relating to number 3. All right, we'd like for him to get hands-on, but like we said, he's a wall player, so we just don't want 3 to cross his face. So if he can't get hands-on, the biggest thing we want him to do is now hold this in-raking window for the safety here to help protect this dig route, which he does a pretty good job of. Couldn't get hands-on, but does a good job of getting there and then getting back square and protecting the dig. And now, we can double this dig here. Our backside corner is doing a good job, obviously, man-to-man, and our Will's doing a decent job. It kind of gets in this thrown window, too. Okay, different look here with bunch. So Bronco, this was actually a pretty good bunch check for us. We liked it because it allowed our Sam to be able to press number 2, and because he's, truly just a kind of a seam curl player, he's able to zone off and be aggressive on 2, right, disrupt the bunch, and then he can just zone off and hang in the curl. So this is just 3-step, but have a couple other clips of it too. But this is a good job by the Sam, right? He doesn't really get a 2 coming straight at him, so he knows he can just hang in the hook curl. Right now, they're just running, spot routes. Okay, we're just playing, man on the backside still because of the cross key. Right, our corner, he's going to take, right, first the flat. Our Sam's our hook player still. Our Mike's still going to relate to number 3. All right, since we have a tight split by 1, right, and a back offset, our corner and our wheel can work together with the paint. So now we get 1 coming underneath. Our wheel's working to 1, to who was 1, now is the new number 2, and our corner can obviously take, the back coming out of the backfield. So, it's a pretty good clip of just the route distributions for as far as underneath coverage go. We still have our 2 deep safeties. So if anything does, we get any kind of, stick and go, things like that, we are protected deep still. So overall, pretty good clip. All right, bunch again, into the boundary this time, which, formation of the boundary really, in our coverage, straight coverage checks doesn't really change anything we do. We travel to the passing strength of our nickel Sam, things like that. So, it doesn't really change a whole lot for us. Okay, same thing, you can see here our nickel, he's able to really press number 2 here because he is, he's a seam curl player, so he can really collision 2 and then just sink into the hook curl area. Our Mike still is going to relate to 3, and, we're still going to cross cue with our backside safety. Our corner obviously is man on the tight end. And we actually have a back set strong, so we could get a flood alert, which I can talk about some clips later on here. One thing we did actually end up flipping our Mike and our Will here. We found, responsibility-wise, they could handle, knowing what each other's jobs were. So when we got through I-1, we ended up switching them just because we felt like more speed here would kind of help us with some of these bunch sets or wide 3-by-1 formations. And obviously having a bigger guy back here, in the box still in 3-by-1s helps too, which we'll kind of see later on. But right here, really good job by our nickel here. He's able to be aggressive, press the point, wins outside, takes 2 blocks, gets rid of both of them, makes a really, really good play here now. Obviously if this guy slips a tackle, we got 2-3 unblocked defenders. We feel pretty good about this. But overall, this is exactly what we wanted, right? We get a bunch, we play this to bunch, and it lets this guy, our nickel Sam, be really aggressive on 2 and create some disruption just like he does here. Okay, same thing. Now we just get bunched to the field. Nothing changes. Okay, still have our nickel Sam out here to the field. Okay, like I said, got our Will, flipped him, to the field. So he's really doing what the Mike would be doing. Our Mike's the Will just because we felt like it'd be a better matchup speed-wise. Keep our Will, our Mike, our bigger guy in the box for any kind of, run weak. You can see from the end zone, this is probably more, this is the, this is a senior here. This is the alignment we would want to see our Mike in at least right now. We have some guys, a lot of it can be ability-based too. All right, so some guys, they can be wider than this if they feel like they're able to get into the box more or they feel comfortable with that. But at least this is where we want all of our Mikes to be in a 3-by-1. If they want to get wider, that's fine. But, overall, this is a pretty good alignment by him. So like I said, bunch to the field. Same thing here. Our Sam nickel at the bottom, able to be really aggressive on 2. Okay, now we would like him to win outside of 2. But, the whole point is him being really aggressive. We knew they're trying to stand up and throw a bubble. So we really just wanted to give him, the liberty to do that. And like we said, we want him to win outside, but, he doesn't, but he is being very disruptive, right? He knocks the guy off his route a little bit. Okay, eats up a block, makes the guy bubble and buys time for everybody else. So obviously, in film room on Monday, Sunday, we'd want to say, hey, man, we want you to win outside, but good job being aggressive. This is the goal of what the coverage we wanted, to let him be aggressive. He is. And then we end up, having a lot of unblocked guys running the ball here. Okay. Same coverage here. Now, as far as the front goes, we're just standing these guys up, nothing different, just to let them see better as far as the defensive ends go. Okay. Now, this is a different situation, right? we got it 3-by-1, but now we have a back set strong. Okay, so the way we handle, if they were to give us a 4 strong here, okay, the way we would handle that is we really just try to focus on handling it with our Mike and our Will. Okay, it just makes it easier, I guess, because both of them are kind of looking at the box. We have different coverages out here for our Sam where, he could be carrying 2 vertical or he could be carrying 2 to the flat and on a wheel. So he may not always be exactly there to collect this, 4 strong. So we really just, it kind of looks weird sometimes because we got some overlap with the mic, running out to the 4 strong, but it just makes it a lot easier for these guys to sort out, right? The Will knows, okay, he's going to communicate pre-snap, hey, flood alert to the mic. That means, hey, could get a 4 strong. If we do, he's going to, we give the flood call, and now he's going to just slide over, okay, doesn't have to go running over to the number 3 or new, 4 and first crosser, but he's going to slide a little bit, and he's going to end up taking the first crosser if that's what develops. If the back stays in, obviously the Will is man-to-man on the back, all right? We did a couple different things. We told the Will, hey, just drop, look for work. We've told him, we've thought about, hey, trying to buzz him under 1 if the back truly blocks. Or we've actually just had him kind of delay add on. And I think, we'll get some clips of that here. So obviously the Will sees the back block. Okay. So now this is what you can do, right? If he's man on the back and the back's blocking, now you can kind of pick up a 5th rusher. Like I said, first-year player, still getting a feel for kind of what the D-line's doing, all right? But either way, the quarterback's in the pocket breakdown, kind of forces a throw quicker than he'd want. We look at the mic to the field. Okay, he's playing the wall technique, would like him to get hands-on, but either way, he's doing a good job walling, okay, making the number 3 receiver, kind of run the bump here and helping our backside safety out. Okay, obviously our cross-key safety here, looking to the field. So he's looking here. Our Mike's doing a good job making 3 run up and over and kind of holding that inside, breaking part of the route. Okay, same thing here. Now we're getting, they're going to motion the 3-by-1 here. Okay, so we're going to get to our Bronco, check. All right, Mike's still just going to relate to new number 3, so he's eyeing number 3. Okay, out here, right, our nickel Sam's still going to be our seam curl player. Okay, get kind of a switch route so he and the corner do a good job anticipating with this motion. Okay, the nickel's still going to relate to new number 2 here. All right, hold that curl window. Okay, now you can see, we're playing a man concept at the corner on the backside. The back is, once they motion, it technically is a 3-by-1, with a back set strong. So we're probably going to get a flood alert by our Will to our Mike. All right, the Will's still going to play the running back man-to-man. Okay, the Mike knows because the Will is playing a man concept that if 3 comes under, right, he's going to take it because, if he lets it go and our Will is either adding on to the back or if the back just runs something out of the backfield, and the corner is gone with number 1 and the Mike lets 3 go, then there's no, we're not going to have anybody to account for that. So Mike knows with the man concept back here, he's got to take 3 under unless he gets that flood call by the Will, then he can let the first one go and then he's going to take the flood. But good job by our Will here. A little bit better, I think, here of kind of activating, could be a little bit quicker actually adding in. But does a good job just mirroring the quarterback. All right, we're doing a good job matching the underneath routes with the mesh. Our corner is doing a good job just kind of running, trying to avoid getting picked off here. Our Mike's doing a good job, obviously, taking 3. Okay, same thing here. Playing the same concept, man concept, flood alert because of the 4 strong between these 2. Okay, Mike's going to take the back if he flares. Sam Nickel's still playing our seam curl, and we're playing the cross key with our backside safety on the backside and our corners in the man-to-man on number 1. All right. Will, same thing. We just made an in-game adjustment because, our D-line, they really came on there at the end of the year and really, helped us out in the pass coverage. So we saw a lot of teams that were keeping the back in. So we really just wanted to add in our guy too. So, right, Will's man-to-man, the back blocks. Now you can see this is a pretty good job, right? Third time's a charm for Will here. Starts to figure it out, kind of the timing and where the windows to insert himself. All right, our Mike, you can see our Mike at the top doing a good job. Wall and 3. Okay, hinges back in to protect that in-breaking route. Okay, make the quarterback hold the ball, and then we, force a quick throw into our cross-key safety, get a pretty good turnover here, late in the game, which is pretty big for us. Okay, and then at the top, obviously our Sam, at the top is doing a good job. They switch 1-2 again. He's just going to relate to the final number 2, kind of gets spun around, but obviously he's still holding that hook curl window for us. Okay, now this is a good look at the 4 strong. Like I said, we are going to get some overlap, with, our Mike handling the 4 strong. So obviously our Will's giving the flood alert. Our Mike, knows if we get a flood call, right, Will's going to give him the flood call. Mike's going to handle it, okay? And our Sam is still going to be our seam curl player at the bottom here to the field. Okay, flood, and Mike takes it, doesn't get out leveraged by the running back. All right, our Will, okay, on the top here knows he's going to take the first crosser coming back at him right there, which is the drag. Our Sam, he's still holding the seam curl. He's going to kind of melt with this number 2, okay? And then we still are protected on the backside with our backside safety, looking at the dig coming across. But overall, decent job handling the 4 strong here. Okay, with our Will taking the drag, our Sam's just kind of squeezing number 2 still here to our cross key safety, and our Mike's taking the 4 strong. Okay, so another 3x1 quarters that we play, we call trio, pretty common. We're just going to man up number 1 with the corner, and then we're just going to play our palms or read 2 technique, what we consider a blue technique, 2 and 3. All right, so we usually play it out of nickel just because this guy's going to be more of a corner body type, and he's used to playing that read technique, so he's going to be reading 3 in this situation, obviously. And our safety obviously is going to be looking at 3 as well. 3's out. Okay, just like in our read or blue technique, our safety is going to get over the top of 2, and our nickel is going to take the out route. Okay, again, base alignments, right? We're just kind of install anchoring these guys. In reality, our Mike, okay, is obviously we still want him in a 3x1 base setup to be sitting outside the, hipped off the defensive end. All right, he's still going to be a wall player. Okay, still playing that wall technique because the safety is going to handle 3 vertical. Obviously, if you get vertical by 3, vertical by 2, right, you're man with the nickel, man with the safety. So the Mike doesn't have 3 vertical, so that makes him a wall player. Our Will, okay, same thing. Based on tag, that just means we can either tag a 3x1 or we can just tell our guys, game plan. Hey, we want to play this to maybe a back set or a field position, whatever the situation is. We can play a couple different things. So the nice part about this kind of 3x1 check is you really gain. You can do a lot of different things with this backside safety, right? You can still play man to man with the Will in the corner, and now your safety truly is free. He can look to close the middle of the field if he doesn't get anything, from number 1. He can double number 1, right? We can play kind of a cloud technique where their corner is going to be our flat defender, our safety's over the top, which we call top for that reason. We can play bottom where now our safety is going to be our flat defender and our corner is going to be our deep half player. So there's a few different things we can do, which helps us. We saw some pretty good number 1 receivers out here to the opposite 3x1. So it was nice to have our free safety, actually truly free and be able to double him. And also, we get a decent amount of weak side run so that obviously our free safety is able to show up on run as well. So each 3x1 we have, just as far as game planning goes, we always want to figure out, what does each 3x1 give us? What is it, what's its kind of maybe stress points? And then, what are we seeing from that team? Do we need to push our coverage like in Bronco to the field, to cross key? Because we feel like our corner can match up on the backside. We're not going to get a ton of run weak. Or do we feel like we want to truly play split field coverage? Now we want to maybe force the throw to the field number 1, right? And now we can double the backside number 1 where we see a high percentage of fades or comebacks or glance routes. things like that. So each check we have a, kind of a plan for of what we're seeing. So that's just kind of a little peek into how we, kind of structure what kind of 3x1 we want to take into the game. So a couple clips here. Some of these they're not all 3x1. Some of them are 3Hs, things like that. But we can see how it kind of helps us out, playing the different coverage here. Everything looks the same. Our Will's, Mike and Will still going to have those base alignments. 3's attached now, so the Mike doesn't need to get out, hip in the D end. We have our nickel kind of body type out here playing that read technique. If 3's out to the flat, he's going to break, and the safety's over the top. On the backside now, we can do it, a few different things. We can double one, or we can just truly let the free safety be free and then show up on run or close the middle of the field if he doesn't get any threats by number one on the backside. So we get counter weak here. Now, our DN does a good job chasing this down, but if we just kind of ignore that, right, say the DN doesn't make the play here, we get a really good spill up front by our backside defensive end on the bottom here, doing a good job spilling the first puller. Okay, our Mike's getting a puller, so he's going to give a pull call to the Will, obviously, to get us kind of moving that direction. Okay, we'd like to see the Mike, he kind of gets dirty here with the O-line. We want him to cut flat to where he can gain him over the top, okay, and be a kind of our +1 over there. But overall, we get a good crease by the D end. We'd like to see the Will, okay, here. We can see it better when we get to the end zone. We'd like to see the Will. Technically, he wants to put his helmet on the inside of this, okay, to make this thing bounce again to our unblocked defender, and obviously our Mike getting over the top if he's doing a better job there. But, our D end does a pretty good job chasing it down from the backside. You can see on the front side, we're good here. We're manned here. Okay, we're manned with these two receivers. Okay, and now, if the quarterback did pull it, we got a quarterback player, that's unblocked. So as far as numbers go, it works out pretty well for us. Nobody's in conflict. We have enough people to defend counter weak. We also have a quarterback player out on the perimeter. And obviously we'd like to get our Mike gaining him over the top as our +1. So we look at the box, can kind of see the same thing here. We do have a line stunt on the backside, so that obviously helps. Mike should be giving a pull call. We want him to stay flat, getting over the top. All right. You can see our Will gets the pull call. Okay, our defensive end to the left here is doing a good job creasing this puller. Okay, now, like I said, if you just take our defensive end out of this, we want to see our Will get his head on the 0, okay, of this next lead blocker to get this ball to bounce again to the safety who's unblocked. And also, we'd like to see our Mike get over the top, get our +1. We also have our front side, field safety coming into the picture as our cutback to quarterback player as well. So decent clip overall. Okay, same formation here. Get a different play. Now we just get it run to the front side. All right. So obviously our safety and our nickel are still going to read 3. Okay, 3 doesn't go to the flat, so our nickel's going to play man. Our corner's manned, and now our safety, because his 3's disappearing, that's going to pull him into the box, which is going to give us what we need as far as fitting the run up. We also can do, like I said, a couple different things on the backside with bracketing number 1, or just letting the free safety truly be free. So we go to the end zone here. Okay, we have a line stunt on, tackle stunt, which really is just we're going to move our 3 technique and our nose, to the opposite gaps. So obviously, from a linebacker perspective, we need to know that these guys are going to move in front of us. So from a gap standpoint, we're going to be switching with them. Okay, looking at the Will, he's doing a good job. He doesn't get any pullers or anything to move him across the center here. So he's doing a good job just being firm on the backside. Okay, holding, if the ball was to wind back, keeping his outside shoulder free. We also have our backside safety that's rolling down late here. That helps. As far as the front side goes, we get a good overlap with our nose here, which helps with this insert block. Okay, the tackle stunt, obviously, we know this personnel, they're going to run some inserts. So the tackle stunt, obviously, changes what this guy's seeing in front of him, which can help, us as far as timing and how the play develops. Right now, by rule, we want 42 to put his helmet on the right side of this lead blocker. All right, it's kind of a mess in here, but on film, technically we would want him to get this ball out, right, to our safety, who's our unblocked defender. He's doing a good job coming in the picture pretty fast here. But like I said, our overlap with the nose here with 22, obviously helps us. Okay. And then our Mike's doing a good job just being firm. But we want him to be on the inside shoulder of this guy to help get it out to our safety here. So the line stunt helps us on our Mike to be more particular on which side of the lead blocker he's taking this on. But, we have enough people, which is good. We have an unblocked defender coming into the box. Okay, another 3x1 here. Like I said, this is, we're still flipping the mic and the wheel. So this is technically our wheel. This is our mic, which is a decent adjustment for us. You can see he's hipped outside the defensive end. So we feel like we have a good, kind of relationship to number 3. We're still playing our read technique on 2 and 3. Another run play here, just a tackle wrap play. So our Mike, technically our Will here, he's getting mesh at him, so he knows he can hang right for the QB if whether he pulls it or if he just throws the bubble, we can gain him on either of those. We also have our safety still protecting us deep. Okay, on the backside here to the top, we have our Will, who's technically our Mike because we flip-flopped him, doing a good job. Seeing pullers, kind of his footwork, we would say he's running down the line of scrimmage, a little too fast. We want him to cut sideways more with this puller. But what this does, obviously, with this backside safety truly being free, is allows him to insert as well to kind of add in on the run. We have a tackle stunt on here. So obviously our D-line's moving, which helps kind of with the puller, knocking him off a little bit. Now, if this puller did get around, we'd expect our Mike, our Will here, backside linebacker, to crease this puller out to our safety, our unblocked defender. Okay, puller kind of gets knocked off by the D-line, and our backside linebacker does a pretty good job, tackling this, for a few yards here. But overall, good clip of what we can get on the backside with the free safety, with the line stunt, and then our linebacker doing a good job cutting with the pullers. And obviously, if the puller got around, he'd be a crease player and getting it out to our safety. All right, same thing, same look. Okay, we're still playing Rita here. All right, backside, do a couple different things. Okay, this is just 3-step. The reason I put these on here is, like I said, when we're kind of figuring out what our 3x1s are going to be, we want to know, okay, how do we feel about the matchup with number 1? Okay, where are most of their throws going? Do we need to push this coverage to the field? Do we need to play a split field to where we can bracket this guy or insert him into the run game? And if we are going to force a throw, where do we want it to be? And in this, we're really wanting to try to force this throw to the field number 1. I mean, this guy, he's standing on the numbers, ball's on the right hash. That's a long throw. So we feel like that if we're going to force the ball to go somewhere, that's where we want it to go. And obviously our corner's doing a good job here, right? That's a long developing throw. Our corner is able to make this play, right? Now we still have our wall 3 play with our Mike. Okay, our nickel Sam's doing a good job playing his read technique on 3. 3's vertical, so now he knows he can man up number 2. Okay, our Mike is playing 3 with eyes out. Now you're going to see him break off. Okay, anticipating this new number 3 coming in. So now, obviously, we have this covered. 3 is handled vertically. Okay, we've protected ourselves on the backside, and our corners, able to break on this ball, with a pretty long field number 1 throw. Okay, another just same clip, right? Balls on the left hash, same thing though. Okay, in this coverage, we really are thinking we want to be able to help on the backside or insert it on the backside run game. And if we're going to force a throw, we want to force it to the field number 1. Now, I mean, the ball's on the left hash. This guy, he's standing 2 yards, off the numbers. I mean, that that's where they're going to throw it. Then we'll take that. This is a long throw, same thing. Now our corner really does a good job breaking on it again. But that's kind of, when we're looking at 3x1 coverages, that's what we're thinking. Where's our matchups and where do we want the ball thrown? Okay, so obviously in this situation, we get what we want. They try to throw the hitch to the field, and that's obviously a long throw. It gives our corner time to break on this. Okay, same look. Good job here. Now we just get a switch by 2 and 3. We'd like to get 30. Okay. Our Mike here. Okay. We'd like to see him to get more hands-on and make this guy run the bubble a little bit more. Okay. It kind of creates a window. Our free safety's kind of out of the picture. He's still maintaining, 3 vertical. Our nickel here is taking 2 vertical still. Okay. They keep the back in, which is fine. We still have, right, our Will who can mirror with the ball. Quarterback pulls it down. We still have the Will that can pull it up. Obviously, our Mike moving with the play as well. But, just coaching point for the Mike here. Just get hands on, to protect this bender right here, to buy our safety time to get out. We had a D-line stun on, which got the quarterback moving. Okay, but obviously we'd like to see 30 get his hands on more and help the safety out on 3 vertical. All right. Another thing here, if we are getting a team that's throwing, some bubble. This is we feel pretty good because our nickel Sam has good leverage on 2. He's looking at 3, so the minute 3 comes out, he's going to drive on this, and this is a really good clip of him seeing 3 out. He breaks on it. Right, our safety gets over the top. Okay, our Mike, who flip-flopped here, he's got good alignment, hipped out of the box. All right. And now he's able to seeing 3-step, he's able to break on the ball. All right. So, back earlier in the first few clips, we had our Mike was tucked in here more. All right. Which is, for the quarterback, that's a pretty easy read, pre-snap. Now, we get a guy who's played a lot of football, a little bit faster, this is the kind of reason we flip-flopped him. And so now he's in a better alignment, right, to break on this ball, do his job. But, like I said, our nickel's here doing a really good job. Went into the outside. Okay, makes a really good play for us here, gets the turnover. But this is, something that, this coverage can give us as well, is just really good leverage on 2. So if you are getting bubble, all right, you got people, the safety's looking at 3, then he sees 2 blocking. Now we can get, a lot of people running the football. And just, as a side note, as far as our nickels goes, as who's coaching them, they're by trade, they're defensive backs. So, we kind of go back. It just depends on what we're asking of them. If we're going to do a lot of blitzing and things like that, they might work with me, with the linebackers, doing some blitzes and pressures. If, we're doing a lot of like this kind of stuff where we're just playing them in a lot of coverage, read technique, things like that, then obviously, their individual will be spent with the defensive backs. But, as far as the meeting room goes, they are doing quite a bit of linebacker assignment things. So, I will meet with the nickels to just give, as far as assignment goes, to make sure that we're on the same page. As far as technique goes, they'll be with the defensive backs for the most part, unless, like I said, we're putting in some pressures or bringing them that we feel like they need some individual time with me. Okay, trio again. This is just a 4-strong look again. So we get our Mike, he's activating. We get a flood alert, right, from the Will, just like the other coverage, Will to the Mike, flood alert because of the 4-strong. We get the flood call, so you can see our Mike activating on the back. Our Will's doing a good job over here, just scraping over the top of the formation, clearing Q draw weak, anything like that. He's going to look for any kind of first crosser coming to the middle here. Okay. Now our nickel does a really good job. This is one of those plays where you're on the field, you're like, really excited because it's a great play, and it is. Then you kind of watch it on film, and obviously he's got to be responsible for 2 verticals still. He does a good job, obviously, seeing the court, kind of catching the quarterback thrown out of the corner of his eye. Makes a really good play here, but we'd obviously expect him to be a 2 vertical player still, and him and the safety handling these 2 vertical routes. But the big point of this is just to see how 2 different coverages, we still handle the flood the same way with the Mike and the Will. So that's kind of the main point of this. But obviously our nickel makes a pretty good play. Just being a football player here. Okay, same thing now. Now we get an under by 3. All right, so like I said, we were basing a lot of, our backside can be based on the tag. So we were playing a lot of bracket or things where our Will's going to be manned up on the running back. So for this Mike now, he knows that if he gets an under by 3, he's got to drive on it because this Will could be pulled out of here like we're going to see in this clip. And this is kind of the reason we want to make sure that they're running with those unders based on a backside tag. So Mike and Will doing a good job here running with the under because of the call. Will's taking the running back. Mike's driving on the under by number 3. We get some pressure and kind of force the quarterback out of the pocket here. Okay, so those were just kind of some of our 2 high quarters adjustments. We play a few different other 3x1 checks. Those are just some, maybe 2 that were different, but obviously give us different things, and we used them in different times, different games. We did also play some 1 high. So as some 3x1 adjustments, we would maybe play, like we had an auto checks, maybe where we play quarters or 2x2, or and then play 3 or a zone to 3x1. Those are all game plan things. That's not our base way of doing things, but those are things that we kind of just can look at for each opponent. So this is just cover 3. So our like I said earlier, our colors, our zone coverages, and our numbers. Now, if we have a number, that's a man coverage. So obviously 3, that's a man coverage. 1, things like that. That's how we're going to teach it to our players. So 3 is just 1 high man. All right. So we're going to be manned up. We're going to have a 1 high safety. We're going to rotate, and we're going to end up having a rat player or 2, depending on what they do at the back, underneath zone players. So the big thing here is we're going to actually play. This is an outside leverage man coverage. So we're going to line up I'm talking to safeties or outside linebackers that are out of the box. They're going to line up with, normal leverage. All right. 4x1 for the linebackers. And then when the ball's snapped, they're going to move to catch the outside shoulder of the receiver, because we're not bringing pressure. So our help, is in here in the middle of the field. So if we get, any kind of verticals, we want to make sure that we're funneling them to the middle of the field. We'll have other 1 high coverages where we're bringing a pressure. So now you really may not have this rat low hole player. So we want to still play inside man, because of that. But for this, we're not bringing pressure. So we just play, we're going to catch the outside shoulder of the receiver. So as far as rotation goes, we're going to make, the safeties are going to make a lake or river call, lake left, river right. So our backers know where the rotation's coming from, which is a big deal as far as who they're going to cover and also how it relates to run fits. So basically when we hear a lake or river, that means a safety is taking the number 2 receiver to that side. So in this situation, as a base install, we have a lake call. Safety's going to take number 2. All right. And then, for our outside backers, their rules are they're going to relate to 2, right? Once they hear the rotation, okay, if they're to the rotation, so if they're late call, he's to the rotation, he's going to find number 3 because he knows the safety's coming down and he's going to kick him in. If he's away from the rotation, obviously he's going to find 2. So if you're to the rotation, find 3. If you're away from the rotation, find 2. So even if they broke it, give us a spread look here. Right now, our safety is going to come down, take 2. Same thing. Our Will is going to relate to number 2 away, and our Sam or Mike are technically our rat players. We also will, when we just call 3, this is just us. We're just going to show it. So we're just going to be down 1 high look. We do play a lot more, usually roll 3, where we're going to stay too high and roll to it because we want to keep the same shell. So we'll have a couple of different those different clips. But at the end of the day, we're just playing, 1 high man with outside leverage. So a couple of clips here. All right, so we get kind of a 2-back look with the Y off. All right, this is kind of late in the game too, so we got a couple of younger guys in. So some good clips. So obviously we can see we're kind of creeping to it. So this is probably our roll 3. We're trying to hide it as long as possible, give it too high look. Our safety's going to come down. From an outside linebacker standpoint, this is something where it's not just, hey, this is when you should move, right? It's kind of based on when the quarterback's cadence or the athletic ability of who's out there. Do they need to be early? Can they be a little bit later to hold the disguise? There's a couple different factors here. I'd say, this guy, our left outside linebacker is moving a little too early here. But at the end of the day, the responsibilities are going to be the same. So he's he's getting a late call, so he knows he's going to find 3. So the safety's here on 2. All right, he's going to find 3. All right, now the thing that changes here when we get a Y off is, this guy, he could run across and become 2. This could be 3. There's a lot of different things can happen when you have 2 guys attached to the core off the ball. So what we teach is, would consider this a 3/2, right? We got 3 guys that are going to cover these 2, and then we're going to have a low hole player, no matter how they shake out, right? So if this guy runs to the flat and the back runs here, we know our Will is going to take the first out, or Sam's going to take the first out here, and that's going to leave our Mike in the low hole area. So we'll always have a rat player. That also, is going to kind of relate to the run fits as well, which, makes all the teaching a little bit easier. Obviously, if for whatever reason we get, arbitrarily, we get a first out here, we get a second guy coming across the formation, that's going to be our Mike. He's going to take the second out either way, and then that would cause our Sam to shift over and be our low hole player. So that's just kind of how, things work. Now, the other part of this is these 3 guys could be different, right? We could roll weak, right? And now that's going to kick, guys out a little bit. So now we're going to be here. Obviously, our Sam, if he's here in a river call, he'd be over number 2. And now our 3/2 is a safety, a Will, and a Mike. So you can change the lookup. We can also, in some nickel looks, on the install sheet, we can make an exchange call, which basically says, if you hear an exchange call, now that means you and the safety are just going to switch. So if we hear Lake, obviously the safety's on 2, Sam's on 3. If he hears Lake exchange, that says, hey, safety, I'm rolling down left. Now I'm going to exchange it. So you're going to take 2. I'm going to take 3. Okay. So now technically we'd have a 1, 2, 3/2 with our safety and 2 linebackers, and our Sam or nickel would be on number 2. Like I said, we do that in some nickel situations because of personnel. And we also, it actually helps us hold a 2-high look a little bit longer too. So we take a look at this clip, right? You can see our Sam's kind of already in the box before the ball's actually snapped, a little bit early. But as far as the fits go, okay, we got these 3/2 need to be aware of where this Y off is going. So if he moves anywhere across the line of scrimmage, we got to give a back call to get everybody moving, right? In our 3/2, right, these 2 outside backers here, or it could be a safety, they know that they're going to be the edge of the defense here. They got to keep the ball on their inside shoulder. So they all have to be in tune to kind of what's happening with this extra back that can create more gaps. So as we see it here, we give a back call. Okay, we can see our Will. Nothing's really affecting him. He's still playing the backside of this formation. Okay, with our Mike and our Sam, right, we get the insert, right? So he's creating an extra gap, which is why we got to get in this 1-high man, because we don't have our overhangs, right? We got to get these guys going back. Okay, our Sam knows he's still going to take everything on with his inside shoulder. Our Mike, okay, is our crease player because he's in the middle of this 3/2. So we want him to come inside here and get the ball out to our unblocked defender. This is okay job. He takes this on. Okay, we'd like to see him put his face more across here, right, and get this ball out to our unblocked Sam. Okay, you can see him pop into the picture here. Okay, decent job. We'll see another clip of it later. Okay, our 2-eye does a good job here getting off the block. But either way, this is why it's important for us to pull the string here. Obviously, if our Sam stands out here, with nothing to do, or Mike, if he did do a good job creasing this, okay, now we don't really have anybody. Okay, we're short numbers-wise in the box. So in this 1-high stuff, it's really important for us to make sure we're pulling the string and relating to our gaps. Okay, but Mike needs to crease this a little bit better. But you can see we're trying to get the Mike inside and get it to our unblocked defender. Okay, same clip here. Okay, this would be, now this could be the opposite, all right? This is, dude out here played a lot of football for us, obviously. So he might be actually a little late, maybe trying to be a little too cute and get in late. Okay, but either way, we get a river call, so he knows he's going to find 3. So there's his 3, all right? Okay, our safety's going to roll down over 2. Okay, now with this situation, right, we're going to give these back calls. Our Mike can see this guy coming, so he knows that wherever this guy inserts, he wants to crease the ball out, all right? So if we look at it from the box, okay, right now, if they just hand it off, inside zone, okay, and we just got doubles here, our Mike's going to fold into the A, okay, our Will's going to be a B-gap player, and our Sam is going to come outside in and be, our force player on the outside edge of that tight end. Okay, now, as that guy disappears, okay, you can see our Sam start to come in the picture a little bit late. Like I said, senior kind of probably getting too cute. Okay, we're getting a back call. All right, we have a stunt also on the backside, so our Will can really just let this stuff clear out. But he knows he's got to keep his outside shoulder free. All right, so as it develops, it's kind of messy here, but as it develops, here's our extra gap getting created. Our Will knows he's got to box this or squeeze this block back to the Mike, who's going to crease it. Okay, and now we have our unblocked defender coming outside in. Like I said, he's a little bit late, but we do a good job with our line stunt and defending kind of the extra gap, getting the ball back to our unblocked defender. So, we end up being pretty gap sound. Our Sam makes a pretty good play coming into the box. All right, this clip, this is actually, I put this on here really schematically. We're playing one high man. We're showing it, so we're down. Okay, so everybody's lined up, so we're manned, to the field. Okay, we got our one high safety. Now we know that this is our 2-over-1. We only got one back in the backfield, so we got 2-over-1, and they'll communicate that. So they know that, hey, one of us is going to handle the back. The other one's going to be our low hole player. Okay, from a gap standpoint, all right, we're gapped out, right? The Mike's going to control the A gap. Okay, our Will's going to control the B gap. Obviously, if we get pullers, they're going to play everything between them. Okay, because everybody else is in man coverage. Okay, so these two box guys who are in the 2-over-1, they're going to play any blocks to them. So if they get some kind of fold or anything like that, he's going to squeeze it back to the Will. Okay, because everybody else is manned up, so we don't have any overhangs or extra players to get the ball out to. All right, so we get kind of Q power, Q counter here weak, and schematically and from a number standpoint, this is pretty tough because with Q run and being in one high defense, you're kind of short in the box. All right, but you get a really good crease by our D end here. All right, our Mike right here is doing a good job being flat. Okay, he's getting over the puller here. Okay, so you can see technically they have 2 to block our 2. All right, and then that leaves our one high safety for the quarterback, obviously, which isn't ideal. But I put this on here because it's a really good job by our Will here, just squeezing the crap out of this block by the running back. He knows he's got to get it back either to the Mike or to just somebody to get it back. He knows it's the edge of the defense, doing a really good job at squeezing that block. It creates disruption, which buys time for everybody else. The Mike getting over the top, our defensive line doing a really good job running, and our middle field safety, adding in late as well. But really good job between the Mike and the Will playing this thing between each other. Obviously from a number standpoint, a little bit down, but they do a good job at getting the ball back to each other. All right, same thing here. We're just in show 3. We're just going to be down now, so he's going to rotate. We're making a river call here. So, and that means our nickel here is going to bump into 3, and our safety is going to take 2. Okay, same thing. We got a 2-over-1 with our box defenders. So the Mike's going to take the back here. Will's going to take the back there, and they're going to play all the blocks, between themselves, forcing it back to each other. And we just get 5-step here. All right. Obviously, our nickel and our safety do a good job with the banjo here. Okay, with some tight splits by 2 and 3, taking, the switch routes. Okay, our Mike and our Will in the box are doing a good job floating, keeping their eyes back. Okay, looking for anything coming into the middle of the field as the wrap players. If this quarterback was able to sneak through here, we have doing a decent job getting eyes back. Probably don't want the Will drifting that much past the hatch, but good job with both of them getting their eyes back. And if the ball did squirt through here on the D-line, we have 2 guys with their eyes back on the quarterback. Okay, here we did start to do some things where we would add on to the back as well. Obviously, in a 3-by-1 here. Okay, now we're just going to show it again. Come down, one high man. We have our 2 box defenders playing a 2-over-1. All right, now as you can see, we just said, hey, if the back blocked, okay, we wanted to send him. All right, we just kind of predetermined, declared that. We didn't want to try to figure out, well, is he blocking to my side? Do I go? Is he blocking to your side? Do you go? That we just made it easy and said, hey, if the back blocks, all right, we'll add Mike, you be the low hole player, and if the back releases late, you can gather him up. But this is a good way if they're protecting with, obviously 6 here, we can get an extra body coming in there. You can see what it does for us. Will does a good job delay adding here. Nobody really accounts for him. We kind of get a hit on the quarterback, make him throw it early. Overall, we're just playing man-to-man everywhere else. Our Mike's doing a good job just playing the low hole here. Okay. Gray. All right. So it's color. So it's a zone. Literally the rules are all exactly the same as we just talked about with 3. All right. The only difference is now it's just zone. It's true. Your true, 4 under, 3 deep, cover 3 zone. So we got our skiff, seam crawl flat player. We got hook player. and a curl flat player. So we'll have 4 underneath players. Now, that could be any combination of it could be a weak side safety. It could be the strong safety. We can still give an exchange call to where now if it's nickel, our Sam's going to be our curl flat. Now our safety could insert as a hook player. We could, rotate weak to a 3x1, which you'll see we did. We can rotate weak. So now our free safeties, our seam curl flat, our Will would be our hook. Our Mike's our strong hook. Our Sam would be removed a little bit more. Obviously, he's our curl flat, and now we would just rotate with the strong safety. So a lot of different things. We try to make our guys understand big picture concept, right? There's 4 guys underneath. It can be any combination. It could be 4 X's. It could be, a safety. It could be, inserting, or it could be a safety just, being the curl flat player, whatever it is. So that's, kind of the differences we have within that. But like I said, rules are the same. All right. As far as Lake and River, now we're just going to play it as a zone coverage truly. Okay. And like I said, this was a 3x1 adjustment we made. Okay. We would, we just would make an auto check. We got 3x1. We wanted to kick everybody we want to rotate weak, and we wanted to kick everybody out. We felt like this would help us versus a lot of 3x1s with strong pass or stick routes. Because now, obviously, if we have a 3 removed, okay, we got our 2 box defenders with the safety and the Will, and our Mike can truly hang for the stick or Q run to the field. So obviously 3H, a little bit different look, but still want to stay gap sound. Okay, so our safety he's inserting into a gap on the backside. We did move the D line a little bit sometimes to get the ball out, obviously to the safety where he's not having to insert, but we really want to try to keep that safety to insert in a B gap or wider. So we would make a tackle, we do different line stunts to keep that safety B gap or wider, obviously where he's rotating. So we look at this as far as coverages go. Okay. Playing nickel, obviously, we're going to rotate weak. Okay. So if it's pass, obviously curl flat, strong hook, weak hook, curl flat. And we'll see a couple of good clips of that later, but obviously this is just a run play insert. All right. So now the rules stay the same, right? So here's our 3/2, right? It's just zone, but it's still 3/2. All right. We got to account for the extra gap, okay, that this H is going to create. Okay. So he knows he's going to be a force player. He's going to be a force player. And now middle of our 3/2 is going to crease everything. So as we look at it from the end zone here and the tackle stunt, like I said, again, we get insert. This is a good, something to kind of throw off their insert blocks, of where the gaps are going to be. All right. So as it stands, if they just hand it off, inside zone, our Will technically would work to the front side A. All right. Because we're, like I said, we're moving the tackles here. Okay. Our safety, we're going to get the ball out to him. And by rule, he's, our Mike's going to force anything on the outside shoulder of this tight end, or DN's going to play the vertical gap right here. So, nothing really changes when we get the insert. The only thing that changes now is when we get this guy inserting in, okay, that makes our Mike is going to fold in with him, right? Because now he's going to still force this thing, okay, back to his spill player. All right. So as it develops here, we can see the D-line stunt. Okay. I'll pause it here after we get the movement. Okay. Now, right, we got the D-line stunt. We've moved to the B gap. We've moved to the A gap. We're getting the ball out. Unaccounted free hitter here. Our Will should be getting over the top more of the center. He ends up getting there a little bit late. Okay, and now our Mike knows he's going to play the edge of 87 here. Okay, if this ball was to hit up inside, he knows he's going to force this ball. Technically, he's forcing it back to our D lineman who just moved. Okay, but either way, we have enough people in the box. Obviously, if the ball spits out, okay, he's still going to be able to make the play and force it all back here. Okay, he kind of gets a little bit nosy diving in, but he stays clean, doesn't gain too much ground towards the line of scrimmage. Like I said, our Will, okay, younger player, but, doing his best to get over the top of 53 there, the center climbing, okay. And our Mike does a decent job, bouncing out, able to still contain this and get it back to the help. So that's just one of the ways, why we made the adjustment. We felt like we'd get an unblocked defender to the weak side. And then obviously to the field, we felt like we had enough leverage and speed to play anything out there. Okay. Now, like I said, we're still in our gray to 3x1. Like I said, we made this adjustment a little bit. Now we're just going to roll the other way. We don't want to, we want to make sure we're keeping people kind of honest. So now here's our 3, right, over 2. Okay, so if this guy disappeared anywhere, we'd expect the safety to fall in, our Mikes and our Will to fall back with the Y. All right, and then obviously our backside safety is our middle field defender. Okay, as far as pass responsibilities go, nothing changes, right? Here's our 4 under players. So we got a curl flat, we have a hook, and we have a curl flat player here. So they just stand up and throw a bubble, which is fine. We got enough people to get this to the ground. I'd like to see our nickel at the top win outside, being the curl flat player. We'd like to see him win outside of this. Okay, but obviously he, does a good job seeing the ball declare, being physical with this receiver, sees it declare, and then is able to win back inside once the ball declares in there. Our safety obviously is unblocked, okay, because we're rotating strong, and it's a pretty good clip overall, just with the bubble to the boundary. All right, so now, this becomes technically a 3-by-1 just because we kind of consider it like that with the running back, okay, coming out of the backfield. Okay, now pre-snap, we want to rotate away, and technically it's a 2-by-2. All right, so just by rule, we're going to rotate away from the nickel on a 2-by-2 to keep him out of the box here. So we're going to rotate here, which means safety's curl flat, inside backers hook, and then our curl flat player on the backside. So this is a really good job by the safety, and our actually our overall underneath players getting some really good depth here. So we get the push, our safeties, our flat player. Okay, if I just pop, this is what it, this is like install look, right? We got a flat player on the numbers with his butt to the sideline, flat player on the numbers, butt to the sideline. We got hook players on the hashes getting really good depth. All right, on the 5-step, and obviously it's good things happen when it looks like that when you pause it. So our safety does a good job getting a hand on the ball. But even if that was an outside linebacker, right? Say we exchanged it, and safety for whatever reason he comes in and is a hook player, obviously he'd be wider aligned. But if we wanted to exchange it, we could. And now our Will would technically be the flat player, but the technique is still the same. Buzz under 1, get your butt to the sideline, start to sink, and try to defend any of those sail routes, just like we saw the safety do. So great job by the all 4 underneath players here, and then getting a hand on the ball, creating a turnover. Okay, same formation basically. I put this on here just because it's not a 3-by, but it is a good as far as just seeing how the fits work out. But right, still a 2-by-2, tight ends on the ball. We're going to rotate away. Okay, so now here's our 3, right over 2 guys. Technically, tight ends on the ball, which makes it easier because he's not going to move back anywhere. All right, but our safety knows who's rotating. He's going to be the force player. We have a crease player here, and we have a backside either force or lever player depending on flow of the play. Okay, we get pin pull, right? So now, linebackers doing a good job, 30 and 33 doing a really good job scraping the flat with the pullers. All right, our safety at the top does a good job forcing the ball. Okay, now our 33 knows he's a spill player because he's in between, our 3/2. So he's going to by rule, he's going to spill the first block, which would naturally put him outside the second block. So as you see it develop, he's going to spill the first, which would naturally have him squeeze the second back to 30, who's unblocked here. So these are pretty good fits. We can see it from the end zone here in a sec. Okay, 30 and 33. All right, probably a little tight on their alignment, but they do a good job scraping with the ball. Okay, flat, turning and running. We see our safety, right? We're forming a fence here. Our safety's forcing it, right? Our spill player, technically, he spilled the first block, squeezed the second block, and now we have an unblocked defender with our backside linebacker, okay, getting it all the way back. This is a pretty good clip. Okay, that's all I got. Those are just a couple of different 3-by-1 variations, just trying to get big picture with some of that stuff. We try to, make sure we're not just sitting in the same adjustments, but we also want to make it simple for our guys. And, a lot of it depends on what we're seeing. So there's my email and Twitter. If you get any questions, feel free to hit me up on either of those.